This is TWiT.
Speaking of 100 million, Amazon has announced that if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, remember you used to get 2 million songs for free that you could ask for on your Amazon Echo? They said, oh, the heck with it. Let's give them the whole catalog, 100 million songs.
It's 2 million clearly isn't enough to get y'all's attention.
Well, and they're talking about Spotify raising their rates.
Go.
And Apple just raised their rates.
Yeah, and if you're already paying for Prime, you got it. Now, you can't ask for an individual song. You can't ask for an individual album. But you can't ask for an artist. It's going to be shuffle play. And Apple does this too. Apple has a $5 subscription to Apple Music. And it's kind of the same limitations. And it's really designed for, in Apple's case, for the HomePod, and for Google's case, for the Echo, because you're going to talk to it, right? It's not going to be on your device so much as say, hey, Echo, play some Beatles music. And then it'll just play you some stuff. There are also, and this scares me a little bit more, going to include ad-free podcasts from CNN, NPR, the New York Times, and ESPN, as well as the entire Wondery catalog. They own Wondery. So Dr. Death, Smartless, Even the Rich.
They made a point of podcasting here. How into podcasts is Amazon apart from Audible? I didn't know there was really an Amazon podcast presence.
Well, to me, and by the way, I feel like we're getting now eaten up from on both sides.
I know.
So they want the same thing Spotify has. So when you go, like Joe Rogan's exclusive on Spotify, you have to listen to him to Spotify. We've talked about this before. Now Spotify has all the tracking they could ever want. They know how much you listen to, when you listen to it, who you are, what your credit card number is, exactly where you are, all that stuff. And they sell that that's valuable for them for advertising. It's something we can't compete with because we don't know any of that stuff. So the Amazon clearly wants that, but it's ad-free, right? So I don't understand. They're not putting ads in there, but I guess this is where it's tough for Spotify to compete because Spotify's business is the subscriptions. Amazon's business is a lot of other stuff. If they can get you to buy Amazon Prime, because you get video, you get free podcast, ad-free podcasts, you get 100 million songs. That's all good for that's the flywheel for their other businesses. This is why it's hard to compete with Apple and Amazon because their main business isn't the music. So Spotify's kind of also stuck between a rock and a hard place. It scares me because now I worry our listeners are going to say, well, I don't want any ads, so I'm going to listen on Amazon Prime, or I'm going to listen on Spotify, and it's hard for us to survive. So, or no, I shouldn't say us. It's hard for independent RSS-based podcasts to make their way. There are plenty of them. But it's going to get harder and harder to make money at it.
This is Dave Weiner's cry. The man who co-invented podcasts is taking them away from RSS. Ain't podcasting.
Yeah, it's not. There's some evidence, by the way, that Joe Rogan lost. Well, he lost influence, so they're saying that means he probably lost listeners when he went exclusive on Spotify.
Well, Howard Stern lost listeners, but made a friggin' fortune.
Yeah, I would trade influence for money.
Yeah, as did Joe. Well, it's fine for Joe, but the question is, did Spotify kind of think they were going to bring his whole audience over? They still charge, I'm told, $1 million for an ad on Joe Rogan.
Jeez. Man, how to ruin your brand in one check.
Well, I don't know who's. I know,
Leo. I know. Let's all give Leo. Breathe, Leo. Breathe.
Well, it's one of the reasons we're really begging people at this point. We're pulling a PBS and begging people to subscribe to Club TWiT because if we're going to survive,
and grateful,
and we're very grateful. We crossed 5,000 members. That's good.
Mm-hmm. We
need maybe a lot more than that to survive if advertising goes away. This is always the threat, and I've always said this we've been doing this since 2004 was my first podcast. This show a little later, but we've been doing it for 17 years, and I've always said the only thing that can kill us is if nobody listens. Thank you for listening, or nobody buys ads, and either one could literally just we'd have to turn off the lights. Either one. Fortunately, the audience has been growing since COVID for some reason. I'm not sure why. Thank you. But the advertisers are going the other direction. And I think some of it is because of competition on both sides, from ad-free podcasts on Amazon and ad tracking from Spotify. Anyway, all of which is to say it really helps if you pay $7 a month. I don't like paywalls either.
Cheaper than Twitter's going to be.
Cheaper than Twitter
right?
Blue. Yeah.
But they can pay more if they want, by the way.
We've added that feature. There's a slider if you want to add, but you don't have to. And I also really understand that not everybody can afford that. And if money's tight, and God knows it is these days, we'll still offer the podcasts for free, ad-supported as long as we can. I mean, obviously, if all the advertisers go away, I don't know. What do we do then, Ant? I don't know.
You start working for Henry.
I won't say on.
I start working for Henry.
Mike.
If you see me at some point slathering mustard,
I have ideas, but they probably shouldn't be said on the air.
Okay, you and I, we should talk. Let's talk. It's not going to be NFTs, is it?
No, sir. No.
Don't miss All About Android every week. We talk about the latest news, hardware, apps, and now all the developer-y goodness happening in the Android ecosystem. I'm Jason Howell, also joined by Ron Richards, Florence Ion, and our newest co-host on the panel, Wen Tu Dao, who brings her developer chops. Really great stuff. We also invite people from all over the Android ecosystem to talk about this mobile platform we love so much. Join us every Tuesday, All About Android on TWiT.tv.